Welcome to Work the Left Side. Hyped to announce tonight's guest. It is
Simon, aka iWillburnArt.
How are we doing, mate? Good.
Yeah, good man. Yeah.
Awesome. Obviously, first off, thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming on, having a chat. Anybody who follows the channel knows it's not just the wrestlers that I like to talk to. I like to talk to the refs, the bookers, promoters. Obviously, we had Mark Ashley on recently, who you know very well.
Yeah.
So that obviously then prompted me to, we actually bumped into each other at True Grit in York.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
that's when I was like, dude, let's have a chat.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. Like, obviously, the wrestling community, like the whole business is built from, the workers are the main kind of thing. But without the referees, without the videographers, nobody would get to see it. Then without the fans and the promoters and the bookers, like there's so many kind of bits of the jigsaw that need to come together to get that final product, what you pay your ticket to go and see.
That's it. And that's it, man. And in that kind of sense, a show is only as good, or a company is only as good as its weakest link in regards to the talent in the ring, things that people see on YouTube, things that people see on social media, like the photos and things like that as well, because, a photo can tell, 1,000 words kind of thing. That's the point of it. That's what you're there for, to try and capture. If somebody hasn't been to a show and they see a photo of like two people and you capture that moment, it just kind of, as a fan, it's a mental. I don't know, obviously, you can kind of sum it up to you as kind of thing as a photographer, but yeah, it's just like you just see a really good photo. It's just like, yes, it kind of makes me gutted I wasn't there to see the show, but makes me want to go to the next one.
And that's absolutely it. So that's what I'm trying to capture. So there's so much wrestling in the UK right now, and there's so much wrestling on TV and streaming, and not everybody can go to every single show. That is just, it's impossible. So to put out a kind of a product, like I think now social media and great photography and great videography like is so important for a wrestling company now. Having on demand and streaming, Rev Pro, their stream is incredible. BWR for an on demand service, a few quid a month, and there's access to like everything they've ever done. So if you're a fan coming in and you see an image and you're like, oh, that looks really cool. Like, I live a million miles away from Cleethorpes, but I'd like to see this. How can I do it? The YouTube and internet, it's so important, even more so now.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I said, yeah, I've got the BWR. Like I said, it's just the actual catalogue on there is amazing in regards to, you've got the shows, but it's not just that. It's the, you've got the best of. You've got the collections, this is Scotty World collection on there, and Will Cruz and lots of other people kind of thing. So it's all this hundreds of hours of stuff at your fingertips. And like I said, it's for a few quid a month. Yeah, if you're not a local, but you are a fan of BWR, you've got access to everything.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what we do. It's a social media game at the moment. If your company doesn't have great social media, you are missing out on such a huge, untapped kind of market. Which, I mean, I guess is why I have a job.
That's it, exactly. So yeah, that's it. Unfortunately, if you don't have the online presence, you're not gonna win things and polls and stuff. Unfortunately, but generic question, right? Obviously, photography, something you've always been into, started at a young age. Pick up in school or in college?
So for me, actually, what it was, I was in bands for years and years and years, and I was playing music.
Displacements.
Yes, that was me. Yes, yeah, that was my kind of band in Hull, pop punk, basically a Blink-182 rip-off, but. Yeah, that's kind of where I started, and it kind of got a bit older and kind of got into work and got married and all these things, so I kind of stopped playing in bands. But I still kind of needed that artistic kind of output. I needed to create something. So when my first child was born, my wife wanted to get a decent camera. So we got a decent camera and we took a few pictures, and it got put in a shelf and kind of just forgotten about for a very long time. And I found it one day and was like, do you know what? I'm going to learn how to use this thing. And I was very lucky that it turns out that I actually quite have a good photographic eye for these things. And then it slowly started that I got into music photography, which was a really kind of easy transition for me, being an ex kind of musician. So I started shooting local gigs, and then I was really, really lucky to fall in with the university up in Hull, who bring in like some really, really big bands into their venue. So I ended up shooting Enter Shikari and Gary Newman and some kind of huge bands, and ended up doing the RuPaul tour and like loads of kind of cool stuff. So for me, that's how I got in. But I got into it in my 30s. Like I'm 40 next year. So I started out there. So yeah, not been doing it too long.
Dude, you're like a walking advertisement for Oil of You. Like, honestly, my age pegs is like mid-20s, late 20s.
Well, I appreciate that, but yeah, no, I'm 40 next year.
I mean, well, okay, cool. Well, there you go. You know, obviously you didn't live the punk lifestyle for too long, and it didn't do any damage. So
yeah. So then the wrestling photography came. I've been a wrestling fan all of my life, from very, very young age, and I remember exactly the moment it was. In Hull, we have something called Hull Fair, big, huge travelling kind of fun fair, and there's stalls and things like that. It's like biggest in Europe, travelling fair in Europe. Next to the Goose, next to the Goose Fair.
I've been once. I'm a Nottingham boy, so I stand tall at Goose Fair.
Yep,
it's the biggest fair.
So there's Goose Fair and there's Hull Fair and yeah. But I remember I must have been about 5 years old, walking down where all the market stalls was, and there was a poster of Bret Hart, and I saw it and I went, "Who's that? That guy looks cool." And then I got into wrestling from there. So I've been watching wrestling, 30 years. So shooting wrestling was always like a pipe dream. I didn't think it would happen. I didn't know how to kind of get into it. I didn't know how to approach it. And luckily there was some posters for a new promotion, which was Wrestleverse, which is an offshoot, the 18 plus version of NGW. And it was almost like kind of comedy, alternate universe, a portal opens and you don't know who's going to walk through it. And basically it's your favorite wrestlers doing different gimmicks. So you had Nathan Cruz doing a capo gimmick, so he was like the Godfather and he was stealing wrestling merch, and Dara Diablo as the angry Mexican, and Rampage came out, and then you had Speedball Mike Bailey as the Karate Kid. And so this was on the poster, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to Facebook these guys and offer to kind of shoot this thing for free and see what they say. I didn't expect a reply, but shot my shot as you do with everything, and got a reply. I was like, yeah, just pop down. We'll see you then. So I was like, well, that was easy. Let's do it. So on my very first ever show, I got to shoot Rampage versus Speedball Mike Bailey, which is, if you can imagine that's them two styles working together. So I was incredibly fortunate. So shot the show, edited, delivered the images, and they really liked them. And somebody that was working on my show was Matt Myers. So Myers is a Hull-based wrestler, the incredible Matt Myers. And that guy saw the work and was like, these photos are different. This is a different kind of look and a style than we normally get. So we ended up just chatting, and I was asking him questions, and he basically gave me the biggest piece of advice that I've ever got, and it's the most important piece of advice, which was, are we okay to swear on this?
Yeah, go for it, dude.
Yeah, so people don't give a shit about wrestling moves. They care about moments. There's a million pictures of a DDT in a suplex. Capture the moment, capture the story, and you're onto a winner. So that piece of advice kind of stuck with me really heavily. And everybody knows what a DDT looks like, and everybody knows what a suplex looks like, but a very small portion of us know what it feels like. So if I can shoot what it feels like, it's normally the second after. That's what I'm trying to get. So you can look at the image and go, ugh. And so that's what I'm trying to do. But spoke to Matt Myers, gave me some advice. He invited me down to another show and was like, hey, look, I'm traveling from Hull. I'm going over to Cleethorpes to shoot BWR. Did you fancy coming? Like, maybe shoot some stuff there. Did that. Same kind of thing happened. And that was the kind of the beginning of it, really.
Dude, I mean, obviously, yeah, anybody who knows anything knows Matt Myers is the guy who generally, if he gives you advice, you take that advice on board, you process it, and you're just like, Matt Myers is awesome. But yeah, that's the thing as well. Like, so that's the biggest compliment as well, is like the initial reaction of, these are different. These don't look like the normal kind of pictures that get taken at shows. It's like, all right, straight away, you stand out. You know, your work's different, which is what anybody wants. In all honesty, you know, you want to be a little bit different. You want to be unique, and you want to stand out.
Yeah, I want to kind of develop, or I have developed over time, the iWillburnArt look. And the goal for me really is that I want somebody to see a picture and go, I took that. That's what I'm aiming for now. So it was kind of I tried to do a more kind of gritty, cinematic-y kind of looking style, not your typical kind of like magazine style. But yeah, that's ultimately what I want to go for. Like, you could look at a Beyond Gorilla photo, and if you took the watermark off it, you could go, Beyond Gorilla took that, and you can just tell. Same with somebody like James Musselwhite or Bear Vision Media. Three kind of incredible photographers all doing incredibly different things, but you can see one of their images and go, I know who took that, and that's the dream. That's kind of what I'm aiming for.
Oh, dude, I think you're getting there, because I can spot yours out quite. When I'm scrolling, I see a photo. I say I don't need to sort of see things like. It might be because it's I know you've been at promotion, but I do think you're developing that very unique style.
Thank you.
So I do think you're probably closer to where you want to be than you think you are in that sense. If that makes sense.
I very much appreciate that.
So you got your foot in the door at BWR. And well, the rest is history. Obviously, still there, still smashing it. You kind of, obviously, your work's growing with them kind of thing. And obviously, Mark Ashley's there doing the videoing and stuff. But it also like you're going on this journey together. Everybody's just getting better by working together.
Yeah. So again, BWR was a similar kind of thing. So I got my foot in the door and I got speaking to them, and it's similar kind of thing. They really liked my work, and they liked my kind of professionalism and the way that I carry myself backstage, and my willingness to kind of work, as hard as I possibly can to give them the best product that I possibly can, because ultimately, I think that's what it deserves. I couldn't do what those wrestlers do. Like, if I took a bump, I'd end up dead. Like, I'm way too old. I've got too many kids for that. Like, absolutely not. But what I can do is work as hard as I possibly can to make sure that their images and their kind of output is captured in the best way that I possibly can. And I think just, that professionalism when you're at a show, and that willingness to kind of do what needs doing, and that approachability is really important. So with BWR, I just kept asking them if I can come back, and it was always a yes. And then in the end, they just kind of said, like, just stop asking. Like, if we've got a show, just assume you are on it and you are booked. Okay, great stuff. Like, so then that started there, and BWR is so like NGW is my home promotion, being a Hull boy, and NGW are really special. to me and as a company. But BWR, I always say, is like my adopted family. You know, the people behind the stage there and backstage and the people that run that, you know, I could ask them anything and I know they'd be there. So I'm really, really lucky that I get to kind of work backstage a little bit now with their content creation and their social media output. So it's a small team of us. Rich Young, their announcer, who is one of the most wonderful, brilliant men that you'll ever meet. And then there's Mark Ashley, again, who you've had on your show, who is just an incredible talent. Like the way that he captures wrestling is just absolutely beautiful. Like, I absolutely love his work, and he's been recognised and rewarded for that now. He's just done the Will Ospreay documentary, having that opportunity, and Will saying to him, "I'll fly you to Japan to do this," is just an absolute credit to his work. He has got that through pure grit and determination. Working ringside with him and being able to share kind of ideas with him is just, you know, I'm incredibly lucky because he is one hell of a talented dude. And then, you know, the booker, Adam, Tyler Devlin, who you might know him as. And yeah.
I do. Benjamin didn't apparently, but yeah.
Yes, yeah. So, yeah, Adam is... BWR is an incredible place. And what they're doing and how they're doing it is incredibly special. Like, they have storylines that have now gone on for over 2 years, and being able to kind of engage and captivate an audience to a sellout. Like their last show, or the show that's happening, on Saturday, it sold out before a single match was announced.
It's ridiculous. I saw the head honcho at Tidal yesterday, and we started talking about BWR, and he was sort of saying, yeah, you know, it's just. But again, you know, they appreciate the ability to tell a story. You know, obviously,
yeah,
awesome matches are great, but like he was saying, you know, it's just the people's reactions when you get a moment or when a story reaches its climax, or you know, something happens. It's like you're saying, you know, he got super kicked and like literally everybody in the building just went and it just got very, very cold, but that was the reaction.
And that's a credit to people like Scotty Rock, who over the last 2 years is just becoming a tour de force. Like what he's doing at the moment on the scene, and with his tag partner Kira as the Dogs Bollocks, which I think is an incredible tag team name. You know, as a gender kind of tag team, the work that they're doing, not just in the UK now, but in Europe. Like Scotty is on a plane every other weekend, like, and that's just incredible to see this young kind of lad from Grimsby doing these incredible kind of things, and he's getting everywhere as rightly he should be. But the story that he's telling with Tyler Devlin and with Jimmy and with Nathan Cruz and Will Cruz, it's been kind of 2 years, and like I say, being able to captivate an audience for 2 years when people's attention spans are minutes long. You know, you can't do anything without somebody just picking up a phone and going, "Oh yeah." Being able to sell out a show based on your work for 2 years is a phenomenal place. And BWR have recognised that. I think characters in wrestling is so important. Talent can get you so far, and being able to do some, you know, flips and some things that I couldn't even imagine my body doing is really good. But when you incorporate that into a character of a story, me capturing that is phenomenal. Like, I absolutely love that. Somebody like, as much as we hate him, but someone like Ace Matthews, being able to capture Ace Matthews at any point is my favourite thing on any show, because I absolutely hate that guy and I absolutely love that guy.
It's a love-hate relationship in it, but I'll just quickly sidebar then. You must have loved the True Grit show in York, that you obviously, you know, first time at True Grit, main event, Nashbo and Serico, obviously versus Misery Business, and oh crap, I can't remember who else was in the main event. Well, my mind just gone totally blank. But it was Misery Business,
Beer Rose,
and
Beer.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously Nashbo, you asked, well, your first, I've been to many a True Grit show. I've experienced the wonderfulness of Nashbo. Yeah, you get to see Ace Matthews in a slightly different role as the one half.
Yeah. My favourite thing about that is that Ace Matthews genuinely believes that Wing Commander's Nash, his first name is Nash. Or Wing. He just calls him Wing. Wing, and his surname is Nash. Wing Nash. He genuinely believes that's his name. Wing Nash.
You had the thumbtacks or the
thumbquacks.
Quacktacks.
Thumbquacks.
Thumbquacks. That's it. But yeah, dude, that was
so my favourite part of that was the referee who put on deathmatch gloves and eye protection when those came out, and that popped me so hard because I didn't know what was in the bag. I genuinely thought it was going to be thumbtacks or glass, and it was lots and lots and lots of tiny ducks. But when I saw the referee putting on the deathmatch gear, like I thought that was absolutely brilliant. Like, and capturing that was a really kind of cool picture that I've got captured backstage of Wing removing the thumbquacks out of Ace's back, which the commitment to the bit is just unbelievable. But I love that because that's a moment. There's no moves involved there, but we're talking about a bag of ducks. And we're talking about it with enthusiasm and love, and that is the magic of wrestling. It genuinely is. Like, that is incredible. And I love shooting deathmatch. Like, deathmatch is my favorite thing to shoot. But that was very, very fun.
Oh, I was going to ask about that as well, because it's kind of like, at some point I was going to say, like, what's better, the high flying stuff, technical, or I didn't know if you'd done many death matches. I know there's obviously the few and far between at certain promotions kind of thing. But yeah, do you find obviously you've got to be a hell of a lot more careful around ringside, and you've kind of got to know where to be at any given point? So you don't
absolutely. So I've shot quite a few death matches. I work with Rise quite often. I've worked for No Hold Bars, which is ICW NHB. They fly in from America, so I've shot some of their shows. I think the way that I shoot wrestling and that kind of gritty, cinematic-y stuff lends very, very well to deathmatch. The art of deathmatch is definitely a thing. It's, as soon as you get glass exploding and a bit of colour, they're always incredible to shoot. But yeah, the safety aspect of that, you've got to always have your head, you've got to be in it, you've got to always have your head in the game, and that's actually for all wrestling. What I think one of my strengths and one of my skills is that I know wrestling, so I can be the idea of it, and the philosophy behind it is that you need to be ready before it's happened to get the best picture. So if you know what's kind of coming next by how something's developing, you can be in the right position to capture that. And even more so with deathmatch. But actually, I've never been really injured. I've never been thinking in deathmatch. I've been injured once ringside when it was 2-bit. Kicked me straight in the head at ringside. I didn't think he was coming as quickly as he was, but that guy can move. And it was a drop kick into the corner, and I was in the corner ready to get him coming in, and I just took a full face. But that was absolutely my fault. But deathmatch is probably one of my favorite kind of visually things to capture. And I know deathmatch isn't everybody's cup of tea. Some people absolutely love it, and if you are a deathmatch fan, you will travel. at the last kind of Rise tournament in Hull, there was people from Europe flying in to see some of this, which I think is incredible. And they've got their own little community, which is absolutely brilliant.
They've got obviously Lou Nixon, the European death match champion. So everybody should be coming far and wide across Europe to come and see Lou Nixon.
Yeah, I watched your interview with Lou, which was a very good interview. But Lou's really special. He is a genuine fighter. Like, he has won competitions, and he genuinely can beat the hell out of anybody he wants. Like, he is a very, very, very tough man. And yeah, seeing his kind of rise in deathmatch has been phenomenal, because he is a wonderful kind of man backstage as well. He's so softly spoken and so kind, and he'll go in there and absolutely destroy somebody. His match with BA is probably one of my favourites, and BA Rose is again another special kind of talent. I don't think there's many people that look the way he looks and moves the way that he moves. He's very similar to like somebody like Dara Diablo, who is my car buddy. He drives me all around the country to all of these shows. Dara's a really good friend of mine. Again, his look, capturing a Dara match is always incredible, because nobody looks like him. Nobody moves like him, and the white vest and the facial hair and the bald head. He just looks like he wants a scrap. Capturing that.
Yeah, it does seem very reminiscent of quite a famous, prison brawler. So
yeah, somebody like that. Yeah,
not quite sure. But again, I was lucky enough to speak to him yesterday at Tidal. We just sat down, and I'm old school. I've been to numerous NGW shows. I do love NGW. And I remember Dara when he had long hair.
Yeah.
I remember the old school Dara. So I was just talking to him yesterday, talking about that, and he just looked at me like, yeah, it's like there's two classes of people with Dara fans. There's like half that remember him from them days, and half the fans that have only seen him the last couple of years and only ever seen him with a shaved head.
Yeah,
and it totally blows the mind to think of him with like long hair. Yeah. It's like, no, I'm OG. I know the old school Dara.
So lost his Mexican accent now, though. That's weird. He must have got kicked in the head too hard.
I think it's like it's the hair thing.
Samson.
It's like a Samson. He shaved his head off. He didn't lose his powers. He lost his accent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, Dara's incredible. I've got all the time in the world for him, man. Actually, like going back to NGW, I think NGW probably one of the most underrated kind of wrestling promotions in the UK. Like, again, they can sell out this whole city hall without announcing a single match. I always think NGW fans are NGW fans. They don't really know that wrestling exists outside of NGW. Probably WWE, but in their heads, they genuinely believe there's NGW and WWE. That's it, and they are absolutely diehard. And it's just phenomenal. They recently did the big arena in Hull, which is a couple of thousand people turned up to that, which I mean is phenomenal. I know Rev Pro just did 4,000 people, which is like absolutely insane. Like, that's more than some AEW live shows get. 4,000 people in the UK. Like, what a special kind of scene we have in the UK that happens. Like,
that's it as well, though. It's not like people are spoiled for choice. It's not like, they're like, oh, there's a good wrestling show on this weekend at Rev Pro. We must drive, hundreds of miles to go see it, because there's nothing around us. Everybody's got a wealth of options around them. Yeah. But to still pull that many people in speaks volumes for Rev Pro, for British wrestling fans. Yeah. Just the whole scene. It's just building and building. But yeah, it's not through lack of options that everybody just goes to a show kind of thing.
And that's definitely a bucket list for me, is to shoot a Rev Pro show. Like, I definitely kind of want to make that happen at some point. I would love that. So if you're listening, Mr. Rev Pro.
Rev Pro. Well,
you know how I am.
I'll just highlight that bit and I'll just find it on socials. Just reminding a little bit because I kind of did touch upon it after you just going on about like Scotty and stuff. Yeah, just to acknowledge, like I hashtag Scotty is awesome. Like well over about a year and a half ago, I was on that bandwagon. I was appreciating Scotty a long time. So yeah, he deserves all the credit he's getting now, all the fortune, all the recognition, fully deserved.
Absolutely.
But back to you. So obviously, we talk about death matches and not being in the right place and stuff like that. Obviously, when I've spoken to refs, they have the conversation with the talent beforehand.
Yeah.
Just to get a feel of what's going on. As a photographer, is there anything, are you kind of sort of saying to them, is there anything that you want me to capture in this? Is there like one or two moments that are key that I kind of get right, or do they just obviously you know what you're doing kind of thing? So I'm sure they trust you to do it, but you kind of just as a gesture, ask.
Yeah, definitely. So it either works both ways. You'll get some talent might be like, hey, just so you know, I'm going to possibly be doing this. And that just gives me an idea of like positioning and where I need to be for that. Or a promoter will say, so good promoters at the beginning of shows have kind of points of what they want to achieve from the show. So whether it be setting up something for future. So it's really important for me to speak to the promoter and then kind of ask what they need from the night. Whether it be they need crowd shots for their socials or particular kind of, we'd really like some images of this person when they win the belt because we want to kind of put over the new champion and stuff like that. But yeah, especially in matches as well. So if I have that kind of knowledge and I know where I need to be, then I can definitely kind of capture that. But yeah, it works both ways. As often I'll ask, is there anything kind of silly that you're doing later that I need to know about, especially when it comes to somebody like Robbie X or Connor, because if there's anything high, Connor will try and jump off it. So yeah, and he'll be like, oh yeah, just so you know, I'm doing this. I'll be like, okay, so I know I need to be here at a certain point. And yeah, I'm very lucky to kind of have a insight into kind of what may be happening in the match. Let's keep the magic alive.
Yeah. Talk about not just in the matches then, because obviously entrances are key as well. So when I spoke to Mark, it was like something about he sort of name dropped Miles Kamen as being like one of his favorite people to record on the entrance.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got to capture that moment when they come out, when they when they pose, when they kind of just when they're soaking it in, or the fans are reacting. Yeah, is anyone that kind of just makes a good photo, or kind of just is anyone that you enjoy just being like, right, I'm looking forward to their entrance, I know I'm going to get a few?
Yeah, definitely. So if you go to a wrestler's social media page, they very rarely post match pictures, unless there's something kind of exceptional. What they post is the beginning and end. As a photographer, realistically, I only actually need to take 5 photos, which is the entrance, the babyface doing something, the heel doing something, and then a cool high spot and the finish. So I only really need to take 5 photos. That's the kind of the important things for wrestlers' social media pages. The entrance is the big one, because I don't think anybody that watches wrestling hasn't thought in the back of their head, I'd do this on my entrance, or I know what my wrestling entrance music is, and I'm never going to make an entrance. But in my head, I already know what I'm going to do, what song it's going to be. It's probably one of the first things all wrestlers think about is, this is going to be my music, and I'm going to do this, and it's going to be ace. So yeah, entrances are really. I love shooting entrances. Nathan Cruz has one of the best kind of entrances. With just their song as well, the second to none kind of theme is phenomenal. Ivy is always a really, really good entrance, as is Brady Phillips, and if it's them two together. ZZ has a really, like, her jacket is incredible. Her light up jacket is just beautiful to capture. ZZ is a special talent. Give that girl a couple of years, and she is 100% the future of British wrestling.
If she's still here in a couple of years, I reckon, dude.
As Miles came in as well, the future of British wrestling. Them two, they're still at the beginning of their careers, and you can just see something so incredibly special. Same with Vucic. Vusic's entrance, he doesn't do anything. He just stands there, and it's intimidating. Just seeing that guy and his presence and the intimidation that he has, like, I'm scared of him, and I know him. I love capturing entrances. I'm trying to think of some. Amir Jordan's entrances are always really, really, really good fun. Very, very fun entrance, full of energy. How that guy's not knackered by the time he gets to the ring, like, I have no idea. I've been incredibly lucky. My favorite entrance ever, and the thing that kind of sparked my kind of inspiration for wrestling photography is Cara Noir. So if you've ever seen a Cara Noir entrance, it's beautiful. Like, from the music and the way that he does that entrance, and being able to capture that. One of my favorite images is a Cara Noir entrance, and James Musselwhite, who is one of the best photographers in the country, not just wrestling photographer, he is the best. He released a Cara Noir book, and I saw that, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh, this is what wrestling photography is. So I use that as my kind of inspiration. But Cara is special, and I've had the opportunity to shoot Cara Noir quite a few times now. He's one of my favorite ever matches against Pac. Cara Noir versus Pac at Riptide. Beautifully shot, beautifully told story, beautifully wrestled. Like, one of my favorite ever matches. So when I got the opportunity to shoot Cara, I felt very, very, really lucky. I was very excited for that.
Jumping on it, dude. I fully agree. Right, Cara, it's just like one of a kind, and I can just imagine, with a camera, it's just an absolute dream. Just be able to capture, new. The thing is, I could just imagine you being spoiled for choice. You could probably just be snapping away, and you got like 200 photos, and you're just like, oh, I've got to try and whittle it down to like 5 or something.
Yeah,
just like,
absolutely. I've got hundreds of photos of Cara because their look is so unique. It's very, very special. But yeah, Cara Noir is probably my favorite entrance to shoot. I've been, like I say, very lucky to shoot Cara quite a few times, a couple of times at 1PW, and I know that Cara's injured at the moment, and I really, really hope that they kind of get through that and come back soon, because definitely there's definitely a little Cara Noir hole in British wrestling at the moment that needs filling.
Huge hole, dude. There's a huge hole. I do want to see an iWillburnArt Cara Noir flip up, though. Just put all the photos together and just create a flip.
That would be cool.
Going back, just to rewind, I agree with you about obviously ZZ. I've said it loads. You're saying within a couple of years. I think if we, as fans, if she's still on the UK scene in 2 years, we're going to be very lucky. Hopefully it's one of those 50-50 situations. Hopefully she is. Hopefully she isn't. Hopefully she's been taken off to bigger and better things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if that comes up for them, then phenomenal.
Yeah. Miles Kamen as well. Again, I've had the pleasure of him versus Scotty yesterday, seeing them two go at it.
I bet that was incredible.
Oh, dude, it was next level. I got to speak to Scotty afterwards, and he was happy with it. But he sort of said, obviously, he was making reference to BWR, those two guys working together. It's been a couple of years in the making. Apparently, last time they had a match was a couple of years ago in BWR. There's still a little bit. I think that he's, in his words, they kind of felt a bit of pressure in that one. So they didn't quite deliver. Whereas yesterday, there was no pressure. They're 2 years more experience, and they just turned up and they absolutely smashed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Miles had a star-making performance recently for NGW in a cage match in an arena versus Nathan Cruz. And I think, yeah, like I say, Miles is the future, and Nathan Cruz is. They call him the professional for a reason, because he is a professional wrestler. Like, his character and his gimmick is he's a professional wrestler, and that's what he does. Wonderful, incredibly talented, wonderful man. He's been full of kind of praise for me, and always kind of puts my work over. And he's offered me some opportunities to work with people like WrestleCrate. So I shot some stuff for Nathan for WrestleCrate, and yeah, I've been very lucky to get to know Nathan. Yeah, and again, like, you know, the stuff that he was doing at 1PW was one of my favorite ever matches. Was him and John Morrison. Like, John Morrison turned up to work that day, like, absolutely. Because sometimes John Morrison, you know, you never know what you're going to get with that guy. But that day, that was one of my favorite, like, kind of sports entertainment matches. And yeah, at 1PW, and that was a kind of really special to shoot. I really enjoyed that one.
That's I mean, I've always said, you know, Nathan Cruz is the most stateside style ready wrestler in Britain, if that makes sense. People know what I'm talking about, they don't know that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He's an American wrestler in a British body kind of thing. You know, he's got that style down. You know, him and Cash are buds. So, you know, Cash recognises good stuff. Harwood, not Cash Wheeler, sorry, not getting the FGRs mixed up. Yeah, Cash Wheeler. But yeah, Cruz is like I say, is probably I've always put him and Rampage as being like my top two guys in the UK over the last 20 years. So yeah, that speaks volumes. But like we've mentioned 1PW a couple of times, I'm not going into the shenanigans, I'm not going into the shady areas, but I do want to talk about just the opportunity, you know, that you had, Mark had, or the guys that turned up and did an amazing job, which should be acknowledged and appreciated and respected. But it must have been like a dream come true, you know, like so you mentioned John Morrison. When I went to all the shows, you know, I saw the talent that turned up. To be there, dude, you know, just trying to capture moment after moment after moment, star after star after star.
Yeah,
dude,
absolutely. 1PW was really, really, really special, and it was. And I know people have a kind of a tainted view on 1PW now because of everything that kind of happened. But for me, it was an incredible point in my career. I am an Impact TNA guy. TNA for me came at a point when I'd kind of outgrown WWE and how they present wrestling. TNA was there on Bravo and on Sky, and I saw kind of Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles and Abyss, and it came at a point that kind of got me back into wrestling and kind of reminded me of why I liked wrestling in the first place. So 1PW is ridiculously special. You know, I was sat in a changing room having a sandwich with Frankie Kazarian. You know, and I'm just sat there like, what? And across there is D'Lo Brown, and then there's Christopher Daniels, and there's John Morrison, and I'm just Rhino. I got to like just chat to Rhino for like an hour about shoes. Like, when else in my life is that ever going to happen? You know, and the 1PW shows.
Is he an Oxfords or Brogues kind of guy?
No, it's a sneaker guy. He's a big sneakerhead. So he was telling us about all these really expensive pairs of shoes that he's got. But I'm so lucky that I got to be part of that. And you know, it was kind of really special. It showcased the best of the British talent, and afforded the British talent some matches that they would never usually get. And people got to see WWE, AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, kind of talent come over to the UK. Yeah, it was magic. It was a magical time, and the shows, the quality and the production of what we built. Pixelate Productions. It looked like a WWE set, like the lighting and the kind of everything. It was phenomenal what they did. So I speak really highly of kind of the product of 1PW, and I always will do, because, like I say, I got to hang out with Mickey James, a genuine legend of wrestling. When else is that going to ever happen for me? So yeah, it was really, really special, and I got to capture some incredible matches, some of my favorite matches. And the saddest thing for me actually is I've got a lot of work from BW that never saw the light of day. So I've got hundreds and hundreds of photos that people will probably never get to see. Backstage stuff with Ruby Soho, and some candid moments and documentary stuff that nobody will probably ever really get to see that, which is really, really sad, because I've got like this whole back catalogue of 1PW stuff, but nobody really cares about it anymore. But but it's special in my heart.
There you go. You've got them, but I mean, I suppose you can always just reach out to the talent, right? Look, just let you know, I've still got these pictures, but if you ever want it for any reason, hit me up, kind of thing. But yeah, I was very cool for a short period of time, and then kind of never spoke about it again. But yeah, I would never besmirch the product. I would never besmirch, the talent on the shows, the production, everything like that was so on point.
No,
Which just made it so much more worse, because it just meant we had so much to miss.
Yeah,
so for you guys,
it's very,
from
very sad.
From a fan's perspective as well, it was just like.
Yeah, it's very, very sad, and I think there is still a market for a 1PW styled product in the UK. It clearly works. They were selling out the Donny Dome. People want to see, mega shows still, and people will travel for mega shows. And I think there is a market there still, and I think it'll happen again, under a different name. But
2PW.
Yeah, 2PW. There you go. Let's do it. Let's make it work. I'll shoot it for you.
Awesome.
But yeah, I the people that made 1PW were special kind of people, and I'm still lucky that I get to work with a lot of them. But yeah, special time.
Well, that's it. I mean, that speaks volumes as well for BWR, because a lot of the guys that were involved at the 1PW are obviously BWR guys.
Yeah.
So, it must have been nice as well. It's not like you're walking into this building and being all like crap, loads of new faces. It's like a home away from home. You got NGW, BWR, and obviously then it was like the 1PW was the bastard cousin. But
very, very good word to describe it. But no, yeah, I was very lucky, and my photography got better by being in that environment. It made me work harder than I've ever worked to kind of do that product justice. So, and I got to work with some cool people and videographers and some other photographers. Head Drop, who is a phenomenal wrestling photographer, because there's a lot of incredible wrestling photographers in the UK. We've got such a talented pool of wrestling photographers. I have love for absolutely every single one of them, because we work really, really hard on show days. We are out there for the whole show, moving around that ring for the whole show, and then when the show ends, we've then got editing and to do, and culling, and that takes just as long as we was there. So we work every show we work twice. So I've got so much love and respect for anybody that picks up a camera and does that. Absolutely no gatekeeping in photography for me. Like, absolutely big up every single person that's doing it, because you are all wonderful.
That's it. It takes commitment. So if somebody's doing it, they're at least committed and they've got that passion to do it, depending on how well they do it. But the passion's there, it's genuine, and they're doing it for the love of the business, kind of thing. So say like you've taken photos at a show, everything's wrapped up, right? Simon, go home, you're done. What's the turnover then from you sort of going home? Do you go home and sort of boot it up and just keep cracking on, or do you think, right, I'll deal with that tomorrow? Mostly.
Yeah, it's definitely the main things to get done first are the meet and greets. People pay money to get those photos, and you want to make sure that they're turned around as quickly as possible. Some promoters will give you a list and be like, right, I need these photos to go out for social media ASAP. So, if I shoot on a Saturday, I'll have those photos ready Sunday morning. And because they're the ones that they need. On average, you probably take or you probably keep around 200 photos. But most promoters just need that initial kind of bit to get going, and then all the match photos later. But yeah, it's a couple of days process for me. I have two very young children and a wife and a proper job as well. Proper job.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, so I've got to make it work. But yeah, the meet and greet ones, and then especially if there's any like kind of title changes, make sure those photos are done first. So if I've got time when I get home from a show, depending on where it is and how much traveling I have to do, yeah, I'll probably get those done on an evening and get them sent straight away. But it's normally the next morning. I've got sleep.
Yeah, but so there's obviously, like you said, there's a priority list. So at least you've got a list to work with. It's like, right, okay, I need to get these ones done first. That takes the pressure off a little bit. We can come to those at a later time, kind of thing. So,
yeah, I normally do it in a couple of batches. Put some music on and lots of caffeinated beverages and kind of just work through them. But I really enjoy that side, seeing the photos kind of come to life. So thank you Photoshop and Lightroom for that. But yeah, I get to kind of build those images and give it the kind of the iWillburnArt look, my signature kind of look that I've tried to develop. So yeah, I enjoy that process as well. But I enjoy all the process. I'm very, very fortunate that I get to travel to all these shows with some of the world's, the UK's best wrestlers, and kind of listen to their conversations and ask them questions and hear things, wrestling stories and road stories. And, I'm a very fortunate position as somebody that is, a fan as well. I get to kind of chat to Nathan Cruz about how you put a match together, and learning that kind of stuff is just, it's incredible. Like I'm not going to pretend that I'm not a massive fan of wrestling, because I really am. I think you got to be able to do it. Same as like what you do. The love and passion and the effort that you put into this. You wouldn't do it if you didn't love wrestling.
That's it. So, but the like you said, you're sitting in the car. You're talking to like Nathan Cruz about just putting on a match. As weird as it sounds, that's still going to help you as a photographer.
Oh yeah,
it helps you understand the flow of the match. You can kind of, like you sort of said, the more you see stuff, you kind of second nature. You got to start moving around the ring, knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah,
because you can see the story unfolding, because you know the psychology behind it. It's like, right, okay, yeah. So it's all so closely intertwined.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Yeah, it really is. Like I say, I'm very lucky, and for me, goal wise, yeah, I would absolutely love to shoot a Rev Pro show. I'd love to shoot a Progress show. I'd love to shoot, I'll throw it out there. I'd love to shoot AEW when they come to the UK, or be involved somehow in that. I think putting things out in the atmosphere and seeing what happens. Maybe not this year, but if I can build kind of my name and do that. But I just, my main goal is I want to improve. My favorite wrestling photo is one that I haven't taken yet, and I just kind of want to work as hard as I can, just make the best content that I can for the promoters and for the fans and for the wrestlers, and that's all I really want to do.
Dude, right, because I ain't done it for a while, but I like to draw, comic book artist, X, Y, but they always sort of say when somebody's drawing, a piece of art is never finished. It's just abandoned. I can imagine that kind of being the same for yourself with the photos. Like when you're doing stuff, it's like you've got to pull yourself away from it and be like, look, stop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, you're going to just fuck it up, basically. You've got to know when to stop.
100%. And just kind of, I do something every year, and I do it at the same point of the year every year, which is a picture of Matt Myers. Matt was the one who kind of introduced me and got me into it. So every year I post a picture of Matt from that year, and just seeing kind of the first pictures that I took of him compared to what I'm capturing now, like I can see my progression there, and that's kind of what keeps me going. What I thought was an incredible image 5 years ago, I look back at it now and I'm like, what was I thinking? Like this is awful. Like, but that's part of a journey. I think every creative out there, everybody who's putting themselves out there and creating art, needs to ignore that little voice that's telling them that they're not good enough. Imposter syndrome is something that all creatives have, and it's really important just to kick that imposter syndrome in the dick and tell them to go away, because if you're doing something, that's more than 99% of the people out there. So yeah,
exactly.
Just keep going.
Like the sorts, I think there's a sort of saying there's no such thing as bad art. It comes from a place, or there's no such thing as bad creativity. If your heart's in the right place while you're doing it, it means something. And that's, even if it just means something to you, if it means something close to you, somebody close to you, then yeah, that's it. That's the whole creative journey. You can't sit and dwell on a photo for too long. You've kind of got to be able to get in there, do what you do. Because you said, you've captured so many. I don't suppose you spend like an hour messing about with just a photo, because otherwise, it'll take you freaking weeks to get everything done.
Yeah, definitely. There's some images that kind of take a little bit more work. Lighting in venues is sometimes a challenge, and working in those challenging environments, sometimes they do take longer to kind of get right. But yeah, generally, you've just kind of got to leave it and just be like, you know what, this is it.
That's it. Step away from the photo.
Yeah.
I do like kind of rewinding back, the deathmatch thing. Again, referencing like comic books and stuff like that. Again, I don't know, it depends on your inspirations and what you look at as being cool or not cool. But if I was taking like deathmatch photos, I'd just be so tempted to like Sin City it. You just be like doing black and white photos with just red blood, stuff like that. I'm like, I'm gonna morph the crap out of this. We're gonna make it, Sin City style.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some incredible kind of artists and designers out there, and yourself, and some of the stuff that the Deathmatch Outlaws, some of the content they put out, it's like it's so wonderful and so unique. But I think any artist out there doing anything, I've got a lot of love and time and respect for. Yeah.
Do you ever, obviously, like you said, you're building the iWillburnArt brand, or the look, the uniqueness.
Yeah.
Do you ever just kind of think, I'm just going to have a mess about with this one, and sort of, I'm just going to totally spin it on its head, and I'm just going to try something a little bit. Not as obviously with the wrestling photos, because you've got to keep them consistent. But I'm guessing, you're not making family photos into the same sort of style. It's just, you just have a bit of fun with other photos.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just need to move because I need to plug my laptop in. My laptop is going to die, so I apologise.
Well, that's fine actually, because I've just clocked the time. I can't see the time. I didn't know how long we've been talking. But yeah, I'll plug it in and then we'll start wrapping up anyway, dude, because I've kept you for an hour.
Yeah. So yeah, I do. So actually, I have. I'll often duplicate an image and put out a different kind of version of it. So, for example, I really like black and white photography. I think some of a lot of my candid work and backstage stuff is black and white. I really enjoy kind of exploring the black and white photography. But promoters, and especially like a company like NGW, where they're all about big, bright, bold, superhero kind of colours. They don't want black and white photography. But I've got lots of like kind of images from NGW shows that I've done in black and white, and I kind of just do them really kind of for me or for the wrestlers. Because yeah, I mean, it's in my name, isn't it? iWillburnArt. Like, I know it's super pretentious to call yourself an artist, and yes, I create art. I don't take photos. I'm an artist, but that's kind of what I want to create. I want to turn the photos into a piece of art, and you know, an image is around forever. You know, these images will be out on the internet long after I've finished doing them, and being able to kind of document and capture people's careers. I was incredibly lucky to shoot Leon Slater, in a training kind of facility match before he had his kind of big, you know, debuts, and before he became the mega super talent that he is right now. And I shot him in his first kind of cruiserweight tournament and his debut for BWR. And so I've got a backlog of Leon Slater, like photos documenting it from the little young kid learning how to wrestle to the megastar that he is now. So, I mean, you know, looking back and being able to kind of document that is special for me. And yeah, I'm sure when I'm retired and he's making millions and millions headlining WrestleMania, I'll be able to put together a little book and get that sold.
That's what I was about to say to you, dude. That's your pension right there, buddy. That's like, you know, keep him safe.
Yeah,
you know, in 20 years' time, you know, got the future Hall of Famer, Leon Slater, before they were famous.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, somebody will pay for those images. WWE will hit me up and be like, yeah, we want these images. And I'll be like, yes, it's £1,000 per image, please.
I have 300.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know, I'm like I say, I'm super lucky to do what I do, and I am incredibly fortunate to work with incredible talents, capturing some incredible moments. Yeah, I do appreciate how lucky I am.
Don't sell yourself short though, dude. You're doing it because you're that damn good at doing it, kind of thing. Otherwise, you know, they wouldn't keep you around. You're lucky to get the chance to do it. You've earned the opportunity to keep doing it. Yeah,
well, thank you. I do appreciate that, and you know, we all like a pat on the back, don't we?
So, dude, I'm gonna let you go. I'm just clock's been coming in over the sort of hour mark. Obviously, you know, I'll tag you in this when it gets all uploaded. People who are watching, where can they go? Obviously, check out the goodies. Where can they see stuff?
So Instagram, iWillburnArt, and Twitter as well, where I kind of put the majority of my work. So when I'm not shooting wrestling, I'm a burlesque photographer. So I travel all around the UK shooting burlesque as well. So yeah, you just get, basically I take pictures of people in their pants telling stories. That is what I do.
That's it. And that's why you're such a fan of TNA. Hey. But no, dude, obviously, if you're watching this, you know, I'm going to upload stuff. If you're not following Simon, please do so. You know, honestly, genuinely believe dude's putting out some amazing stuff. It needs to be seen. If you haven't already seen it, I've probably seen it and not know who it was from until this time. But now you know what you're looking for. You know the style. It's going to jump out at you next time. You see a photo, you'll be like, yes, I know whose that is. So, dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, again, you're doing some incredible work, and thank you for letting, you know, not just the wrestlers be kind of in the spotlight as well. You know, takes an army.
Exactly, that's it. It's not just the Zebra Army; it's everybody else as well. So, but no, like I said, it's the whole scene, the whole production. A show is only as good as its weakest link, and that goes across all forms of media and everything else as well. So everybody who works together to put on a show deserves the love and the time, and has stories to be told, which I am quite happy to listen to. So, yes, everybody out there, thank you for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, share, comment, do all the generic stuff you do after watching a video on YouTube. Keep your eyes peeled. Got some guest announcements happening. I had some. Got Mr. Jimmy McIlroy coming up soon. We'll see whether he's still got a head of hair or not after his match against Scotty.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping he comes on the show and he's got like that Kurt Angle amateur wrestling helmet wig thing on afterwards. So that'd be cool. I'll pop for that. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Lots of cool stuff coming up. But as always, thank you for watching, and I will say goodbye. See you soon.